When I was young, I thought it'd be really cool to be an astronaut, but I was always excited about space, and space really represented the future, where we were going, what we were going to do. So that kind of started my journey of thinking about, what could I do to make a difference? I did 1 year of a science degree because when astronaut turned out to be not really on the table as a career offering, I thought, well, I'll get into science and learn about physics, maths, chemistry, stuff like that. And I realised at the end of that year, I had no idea what I was going to do with a science degree. So I took a year off and I joined a pub band and learned to play guitar. What I did discover though was that our gear was rubbish, because when you're not very good or you don't have a reputation, you can't afford good gear. And I thought to myself, surely somebody can design better gear than this. And that's what led me to thinking about, well, how do you learn to do that? So I went back to my university in Geelong, Deakin University at Warm Ponds, and I said, if I want to learn how to design electronics, what do I do? And they go, well, you need to do an engineering degree in electrical engineering. So I went back and did an engineering degree. This time I did it on purpose. I knew why I was doing it. And I was keen and I was hungry to learn. The driving force came out of my understanding that the big corporates and multinationals in Australia in 1996 only produced 2% of the employment. When I looked at where the employment was, it was smaller businesses. And I was working at the time for a brilliant business called Invitech. They did fantastic work, but very expensive, high end of town, only really bringing success to the big multinationals and the big corporates. So I thought about what it would take to try and bring that kind of quality of product development service to the smaller end of the market. When I decided to do this, it really came out of me being asked to move on from my role at Invitech. Jeanette, my wife who runs the business with me, came home one day to Jeanette, and we were engaged at the time, and said, I don't have a job anymore. And Jeanette said, how does that affect the wedding? I said, it doesn't. She said, that's fine then. And so she left it all with me to sort out. And so I just had this idea I wanted to make a difference, and I didn't want to make a difference according to someone else's agenda. I had my own idea. But it took 10 years to actually go from that thought and then starting the company together to beginning to actually see some fruit from the hard work. Primary services, electronics design and embedded software development. So embedded software means the software that runs under the covers of the product. So for instance, there are cameras being used here, they've got software running inside them. Even the lights have got software running inside them these days. We also do external software like on web services for devices that need to talk to other devices. So Internet of Things is what it's called these days. So they're the primary services. Along with that, you get project management, you get research and investigatory activities. Some of the things we do haven't been done before in the history of the world. You cannot Google the answer to that. You've actually got to go and you've got to research the existing knowledge, and then you've got to do prototypes and testing. So that whole front-end prototype testing, proof of concept work we also do. And then at the back end, we can build prototypes and we can also do small-scale production runs. Some of our customers get us to actually do all their production for them. So we manage the logistics of that. We work everywhere from really big multinationals like ABB down to one-man bands. We run what the Harvard Business School would call a hot team model. So a small number of highly talented people working together to do something, and that's one of the ways that we keep efficient and also price affordable. Our point of difference in the market is twofold. One, we really do focus on the customer getting the outcome they need, but the bigger difference, which is changing the Australian economy, is what I want to do. So there are a few people who have inspired me. One example is Bill Gates. Bill Gates at the age of 19 said he wanted to be rich enough to be able to make a really big difference, to be able to give more than half of his wealth away. Mother Teresa would be another example of someone who's just poured her life into something essential. My father passed away a number of years ago. He was someone who was also a giver. What I learned from him was that making a difference was worth the effort it took to care and to follow through. It wasn't an easy journey, and it wasn't one Mark thought we were actually necessarily capable of when we started, but it was the best thing that we did at the time because it gave us the skill set we needed. Once we became competent at business as a skill set, then suddenly a whole bunch of other things became possible. Obviously I want to keep making a difference, so we're going to keep growing as a team. We do invest in some of the opportunities, so some of the products that go on the market, our clients can't actually fund them. But there's a clear business case. So we only work on stuff that's making the world a better place.